Stitchy friends. Welcome to my channel, Stitching in Costume. My name is Catherine, and this is where I talk about all things that light me up stitching wise. Today, I am going to be focused primarily on my trip to the Attic Needlework in Mesa, Arizona, and my experience with my first retreat at Sampler Symposium. So here I go. I'm going to jump right in. Now, if you've never been to my channel before, welcome, first of all. And I will be talking about my stitching, like a regular floss tube, in my next episode. I might talk a little bit about my stitching today, but primarily it's going to be all about what it was like for me to have this experience. If you see this pause, okay, I'm pretty excited about all the things I'm going to be sharing, and I might get tongue-tied, which is not unusual. So you'll never know. It's all going to be seamlessly edited together, one hopes. All right, so let me start off by telling you how I even got into this retreat. So it was posted on the Attic Needlework site. They send out a newsletter. And I've been hearing about retreats for quite a while now. I watch a lot of FlossTubers that attend retreats there and talk specifically about what it's like to go to the attic and how overwhelming it can be for the first time. So I actually thought my first time at the attic would be just going on my own. Maybe driving to Arizona with my husband, taking a road trip and seeing what it was like and taking my time. And it just worked out that this turned out to be my first time. And I was fortunate enough to push the button at the right time and reserved a spot. I was one of the new attendees. And I'm very grateful to the attic that they set things up and make it possible for people that are new and had never been there before to actually go, instead of, you know, I think there's some retreats that have people sign up as they're there, and so the slots get smaller and smaller. So this made a very even playing field, I think, for people getting into the retreat. And even then, I think Jean Lee, who puts on the retreat and is the owner of the attic, had to up the attendance, and she had to check with the hotel and the designers. And I'm going to talk about the designers here and the projects that we received and a little bit about how they presented their projects. So she had to make sure that they could accommodate kits and charts and things like that. So everybody was thumbs up. So I'm so lucky that I got in, and I realized that. I'm privileged to be able to have attended in so many ways. So without further ado, let me jump right in here. So I have to start off by saying, okay, I was flying out originally on a Friday, and the retreat starts Friday evening. So I thought, okay, well, I'll fly in Friday morning, I'll go to the attic, and then I'll be there for the retreat and etc. So I was talking to one of my friends from my local stitching group, For the Love of Stitches, Carrie, and Carrie and her mom went, and she kind of took me under her wing because she had participated last year in the retreat, and she said, you might want to think about going in on Thursday. A lot of people do that, and then you have time to go to the needlework shop and feel like you're not rushed, or, you know, there won't be so many people, and you can, you know, immerse yourself a little bit in what it's like to see all of the samplers on the wall. You can really look and pick and choose. So I said, okay. So I re-planned, and I came in on Thursday, and she and her mom flew in on the same flight I was on. So it worked out perfectly. We got there, we got a car, we went to the Hilton Garden Inn, which was beautiful. I was lucky enough to check in. It was early in the morning. Okay, first of all, let me say, I had to get up at 4 in the morning. And that's going to flavor the rest of my day. That's why I'm telling you that. So I got up at 4 in the morning, and first of all, I could barely sleep because I was so excited. I had had my bag packed. My bag was packed a couple of days ahead of time. My friend Angie, who I've talked about before, Angie Sawyer, I will put her Instagram handle here. Angie was driving down with her husband, and she was going to the attic just to shop and to meet people, but not going to the symposium. So I actually missed Angie by an hour. But at any rate, she said, you know, it's cold here. She sent me a text, and I said, it's cold? Because I'm thinking sundresses. You know, I'm going to Arizona. It's going to be like 70 degrees. So I kind of revamped and unpacked and repacked and took sweaters and more layers and all of that. So anyway, needless to say, I was not getting a lot of sleep the night before, and getting up at 4 in the morning is not my jam, but I did it and had my coffee, and I thought, you know, I'm going to vlog while I do this. So my husband drove me to the airport, and it's all dark, and I'm trying to like do this video where I'm talking, and that was the end of my vlogging, you know, because the reality of non-sleep started to hit me. So at any rate, so we get in. I managed to check into the airport. I mean, into the to the Hilton. Sorry, I'm very excited talking about this. I checked in, and then we hightailed it. We got down to the lobby, and we got on the shuttle. They have a shuttle that runs from the Hilton to the attic, and the attic is about a mile or so away, more or less. So it's walkable, but you know, not when you have bags of charts in your hands. So anyway, I get on the shuttle, and the driver's name is Mike, and Mike was so great. I mean, I was chatting. I was so excited. So I'm talking to him, and he's saying, oh, it's your first time. Oh, you're going to love Jean. You're going to love this retreat. They say the food is the best, and Jean just puts on the best retreats, and he's going on and on. I'm like, oh, I'm already really excited. So we get to the attic, and they had literally rolled out the red carpet. I'm going to put images up of, you know, just a couple of photos while I'm talking. I know you're probably stitching. That's what I do when I watch FlossTube. So every once in a while you might look up and there'll be a photo. If there's something important, I'll let you know. So I get there, they roll out, they have the red carpet rolled out, and I'm so excited, you know, and so I go up, he's like, listen, I'm going to take you in, and I'm going to introduce you to Jean. I'm like, okay. So my friend Sarah, who is in our stitching group in Sacramento, Sarah's Stitchy Spot there. I'm going to do a lot of name dropping in this video because I met a lot of really cool people. Sarah's one of the first names I'm going to be dropping, but yeah, Sarah is a wonderful person, and said, listen, you know, Jean is a good friend. She said, just go up and tell her, give her a big hug from me. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's my in, you know, to say hello to Jean. So not that I needed that, you know, she's so friendly. So Mike takes me in, and he kind of, I don't know if he took me by the hand or whatever. So he takes me up there and around the corner, and there is Jean Lee. I mean, right in front of me. And, you know, she is the most dear, wonderful, lovely person. I was just so like tongue-tied and nervous. It was silly, you know, and so I'm just standing there, sleep deprived, you know. It's like, by this time it's like 11 o'clock in the morning, so it's not really that late, but I was like still kind of blinking and looking around, trying to look at all the samplers, and then taking in the fact that there is Jean Lee, the awesome Jean Lee. And so I'm standing there, and I said, hi, Jean, my name, and I'm like introducing myself and stumbling all over my words. I'm sorry, Jean, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. I was like so overwhelmed, and you know, I said, my friend, and then Sarah's name completely left my head, and I'm like looking around the room like, what's my friend's name? Her name is, my friend's name, I have a friend, and I'm going to remember her name in a second, my friend. And it finally came to me, my friend Sarah. Well, there's only like a million Sarahs in the world. And so finally I said, Sarah Grimes, you know, and she, anyway, Jean gave me a hug, and made me feel very welcome. She was beautiful. She had red on, and she had this beautiful scarf on that had this red sampler print, and my heart. She's just delightful. So anyway, that was the joy and excitement that I had when I first got there, and then after that, it just snowballed into better and better all day long. So I met a lot of really awesome FlossTubers. I met some really awesome Instagrammers, and some wonderful stitchers came up and introduced themselves to me, and a couple of people that watch my videos. So I'm so excited to jump in and talk about this. So that was my first hour or so. Like 3 hours was spent there. And then I managed to, we found our way back to the hotel eventually, kind of regrouped. And then Carrie kind of took me under her wing. She and her mom Loretta, and they invited me to dinner, which was very nice of them, because I was kind of like, I don't know where to go, what to do. And they're like, no, come with us. We're gonna, our friend Michelle, hi Michelle, is going to be driving us. She's going to pick us up. And Michelle is from Southern California, so she drove to Arizona. So she picked us up, and we went to dinner at some fabulous restaurant. And we were with several people that I'm going to talk about. They were table mates for us at the retreat. And one of them is Robin from Little Robin Designs. Again, name dropping like crazy here. And Tricia, who is Jersey Girl Stitch Co. So it was a wonderful dinner that we had. And we then went back, and I passed out and got a good night's sleep. And then the next day I woke up, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. I never sleep that late, so it was like woohoo. But again, we were on attic time, so they were an hour ahead of us, so it wasn't that much of a big sleep in for me, but it was enough for me to get a good rest. Got myself up, showered, had hotel room coffee, and I had bought some smoothies stuff to have in the room. And then I just beelined for the shuttle to the attic. And again, I spent most of Friday morning and afternoon at the attic. And that's where I did the majority of my shopping. So I did a lot of shopping. I collected things. I put them in a bag. I looked at them, thought about them, put some things back, put other things in, and blah, 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 blah. So I'll talk more about my haul later on. Because I would like to get into what the retreat was like, what the actual event was like for me. So that evening, we started the retreat. So we had our tables set up. They had all of the tables set up in the stitching room. And so we went in and we kind of put our places, our mats down, our stitchy accessories. I'll show you what I put down in a minute here. And we then went back out into the lobby, and we gathered. So we started gathering, and we all got together, and we had a wonderful dinner the first night. And Jean welcomed us to the event. We had a chance to get to know each other a little bit at our table and in and around the room. And then we did, we had Vicki and Megan Jeanette from Needlework Press did the first presentation. Before I talk about that though, I'd like to say, so I think it was the first night. Yeah, it was the first night. So I was busy like running around. I did a lot of like, I don't know where to go and what to do first, I want to do it all. So I was running around, and I was meeting people and talking to people and getting this set up and that set up and making sure I had my table gifts ready and blah, blah, blah. And so by the time I got out and got into the line for the dinner, because they do these fabulous buffets, and you wait in line, you get your food, they go really fast. You get your food, and then you go sit and eat in the lobby well, you can sit at your table, but you know, we had all our stitching stuff. So I kind of wanted to go out into the lobby and see where everybody was and what everybody's doing. So by the time I got through the dinner line, a lot of the tables were kind of already, like, people were sitting there. So I didn't want to like scooch myself into everybody's way. So I'm looking for an open seat. Right in front of me, there was a gentleman sitting there, and he had like 3 seats around him. And I thought, well, you know, that's where I'm sitting. So I went up to him and I said, hi, I guess I'm your table mate here. My name is Catherine. I introduced myself. And so his name was Steve. So we started to chit chat, and I'm eating, and he had ordered a hamburger from the kitchen. And anyway, so we were talking, and he let me know that he was there with his wife, and he was very supportive of her hobby, her craft, because that's what really makes her happy. She gets very cranky, he says, if she doesn't get her time to stitch. And I said, boy, do I understand that. You know, that's kind of my story too. I get a little bit like antsy, and I can get cranky if I don't have my stitching time every day. So we chatted, we had dinner, and I learned a lot about his wife, and it turns out that she is an actual rock star. And let me just explain that. She is a cellist for a famous orchestra in Philadelphia, and she is known by Yo-Yo Ma. So another name drop. And so I was actually like, what? Because Yo-Yo Ma is like one of my favorite, and I love the cello. It's like my favorite instrument. Anyway. So I'm looking now. He tells me her name, and I'm looking now. I'm like on a mission. I need to find this woman. I need to find her and let her know that I had dinner with her husband, and I want to meet her. So her name is Kathy. Hello, Kathy. Hello, Steve. If you guys are watching, I love you guys. So I'm walking around. I finish dinner. I go back in, and I'm walking around going, does she have a towel? I mean, her hands must be so special that she plays the cello that way. And what does she look like? What does she stitch? I can't wait to see what she's stitching, you know? So I'm looking around. So of course, you know, now the event is starting, and Vicki and Megan are getting ready to do their talk and talk about their samplers. So we all sit down, and I put it on the back burner and didn't really think about it until the next day when she came up to me. She walks up and she says, hi, Catherine. My name is Kathy. You had dinner with my husband last night. And I'm like, whoa, you're a rock star. And she said, no. She goes, I watched your Flosstube, and I sent you a message saying that I was going to Sampler Symposium, and I would like to say hello. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was you. Hello. So yeah, it was so amazing to me that, you know, and I was telling Kim, I got to meet Kim, Contended Needleworker Kim, that God just puts you exactly where you need to be. And that is exactly where I needed to be sitting for dinner that night, or I probably would have missed that whole exchange. And he was a delightful person, and she was wonderful, and we really connected. So yeah, that was amazing. Friendships, how they start there, and last there. So yeah, and last beyond. Okay, so let's talk about the projects that we received. So Vicki and Megan were the first night, and they were wonderful. And I'm not gonna try to go verbatim, but I'm gonna show you the projects and talk a little bit about them. And I might be reading. In fact, I brought my glasses up because I feel that their words will explain it a lot better than sometimes my interpretation and my spotty memory. Now, it has been a week since I have done all of this, you know, since the retreat. So I'm doing my best to take notes, and I have some notes written down, but it was a lot of information, and I was a little bit like, I can't even describe it. I was a little in shock that I was even there, and I was in, it was just my first time. That's all. Next time I'll be a little bit more prepared and breathe through everything a little bit more, but this time this is what you get, right? So the samplers, because we got 2 from Vicki and Megan, are A Tale of Two Samplers, Lavinia and Sophia Peer. And I'm going to show you the samplers. And I'm going to try to get this close so you can see. And we got both of these in this chart, in this booklet. It's a beautiful booklet, and there's the models. So I'm going to read to you a little bit about what it says on the front of this. So these samplers, Big Sister Lavinia stitched the more formal, that's this one right here, of the 2. And she blended a tender reflection with her lively motifs. And the reflection says, prayer is the burden of a sigh, the falling of a tear, the upward glancing of an eye when none but God is near. And then Sophia, who is the younger of the 2, is more random, and it incorporates animals and motifs drawn directly from the book of cross-stitch patterns that was printed for just a few years before she stitched her sampler. And it says her stitches are remarkably close to the images in the small pattern booklet. So there was a small booklet that they showed that was a book of motifs, basically, that she pulled her motifs from. So we received that. They did a talk about it, and they talked about their mother had been a dressmaker, and how that influenced the girls and their stitching. And they're beautiful. So I would like to explain now too. I mean, for me as a first-time retreat goer, I wasn't really sure what to expect. Like, are we going to get all these kits? What they did this time is they gave you credit at the store to kit up the sampler of your choice. So it actually works out really quite well, because we were able to pick out the floss and the fabric that we wanted, and target a specific sampler that we wanted to kit up. So that worked out really, really well. I really liked that. And I'm not sure, how they have done it in the past, but I thought it was wonderful. Also, the Needlework Press girls gave us this. This was a kit that they gave us, and it's perforated paper, and it's a bookmark, and it is something that they took from an extant example, and I believe it's 2. So there's 2 sides to it. So you stitch one side, and you stitch the other side, and then you put them together. And they gave us the ribbon that goes with it and all of the floss. I'm going to pull the floss out really quick because I'd like to show it to you. Now, if you would like to see a really good floss tube about all of this too, Roberta Lowe from Sable Stitchers did her experience as well, and she's very good about how she describes everything. These were the flosses that we received. And I know Michelle at our table, one of my stitch mates at the table, worked quite a bit on this, and she got quite a bit done, I think. But they're so pretty, those colors. And I'm not a huge perforated paper fan, but this is going to go really fast. I started just on the blue just to give it a try. So that's how far I got. The next day, we had Nicola Parkman. So let me back up a little bit because I want to talk, I'm going to name drop here about her, Mrs. Parkman. I am a big, huge fan of her. And you can see this is the Sarah Milthorpe. This is Sarah from last year. That was the sampler that was Nicola Parkman's sampler that she brought to the attic for the Sampler Symposium last year. And we were able to kit that sampler up this time, which I promptly did. So I have that in my haul. So what I did, and I want to talk about this because I have this out right now. My stitching friends at For the Love of Stitches, we kind of got this brainstorm, and I think it was Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spot said, hey, a friend of hers, or she was thinking about doing a motif memory project where you take a motif from one of your samplers or as many samplers as you want, and you add it to either a project bag or a canvas tote, or I decided to do a jeans jacket. And so what I did is I used waste canvas, and I took a motif from my MMEW and I put it on the front of my jeans jacket. Now I'm not a huge, I have had zero experience with waste canvas. So this was my first time using it. It turned out okay. It's a little, not the best, you have to pull out the waste canvas and it kind of distorts the stitches to some degree, in my opinion. But, from a distance, and if you shake it, it looks just fine. So I also got the fabric panel that Hands Across the Sea has on their website that has various motifs. You can get a few different panels. And I chose the one that had the Sarah Milthorpe. And then when I was doing this, working on this project, I thought, well, I had that panel, why don't I put it on the back? So that's what I did. And so I brought this, and I wanted to show this too. So this is the water soluble waste canvas, and I put that on there, and I left it on there for Sampler Symposium so that if anybody asked me about this project, I could say, well, this is what I'm doing. That's from the Smith sampler. That is from ES Spot. I can't even remember what that is. The little scissors, but hey, those are on a lot of things. I should probably write down where all of this stuff came from. At any rate, so I'm the first day getting ready to go see Nicola Parkman, give her talk. And I have this on, and I go to get in the elevator. So it's first thing in the morning. I go to get into the elevator, and there is Nicola Parkman, and there was another nice lady, and they were having a chat, and I thought, I'm not going to be that person. I'm just going to calmly step onto the elevator and say hello. So we're just standing there. I think we were having pleasantries over the weather, or I can't even remember. It's a blur right now. And so the doors open, and I go to exit the elevator, and I got a few steps, and I heard Nicola Parkman's voice say, "Oh, I love what you've done with Sarah." And I said, oh, yes. And I realized then that she was talking about my jacket. So that was a huge, exciting moment for me that she made that really sweet comment. And then she asked later, she came up and took a picture of it, which I thought was really nice, to send to the stitcher that actually stitched that. So I'm just a huge fan, and that's why that's there. And that was my story, and I wanted to share that with you. I thought, you would, of all people, would appreciate my enthusiasm for that moment. That was a pretty exciting moment. I had so many pinch me moments during that whole weekend. It was pretty cool. Okay, so let's go on to what she talked about that day. It was a wonderful, informative, I can't even, it was so like professionally done. She had a beautiful PowerPoint presentation, and it was it started off with talking about how women were pretty much neglected in recorded history, you know, especially, you know, sometimes the only place that you saw their names pop up is at the bottom of a sampler. And otherwise we'd never know who did all of this beautiful stitching work unless they had put their name there. And that's just how it was, you know. Obviously everything that they stitched and created and you know, all the sewing work that they didn't sign. So she discussed that. She talked a lot about where samplers came from in the different areas and in England. We ended up with a quiz, which I thought, oh, a quiz on samplers. And she had the venue had two different screens you could choose to look at. They were both the same images. So I'm looking over here. Oh, can I see it better over there? So I didn't do a lot of stitching during the entire weekend, but that's not what I was there for. I can stitch at home. I was there to really meet people and to learn about all of these amazing stitchers and the incredible designers that were sharing all this wonderful information with us. So we had a quiz at the end, and it was very eye-opening to me because I thought, oh, I'm gonna, you know, hey, I know where all these things come from. I learned a lot, is all I'm gonna say. It was a little bit, we passed them to the person after the quiz. You passed it on to the person next to you, and then she went through and you got graded, right? So yeah. I need to do some more studying next time, but it's all good. It's all fun. So let me show you what we received from Hands Across the Sea. We got Anna Morgan, this beautiful little sampler. And these again are, we had the choice of kitting all of these up, and I'll show you the one I chose. I chose this one. I'm going to stop it in its plastic. And this is Anne Ogston, 1868. There you go. I couldn't resist all the beautiful colors. And it's just lovely. And those are the beautiful silks. I chose the Aberrasois. My sweet spot really is 36 count, although I do like 40 count too, and I think that was the majority of fabric I got was 40 count at the Attic. My gosh, the fabric. Oh, it was like a candy shop in there. It was amazing. Okay, let's go on a little bit. So Kathleen Littleton was that evening. We stopped, we had food, and then we came back and we had Kathleen Littleton from Cross Stitch Antiques, and she talked about the Irish samplers, and it was, look at this booklet. This booklet is amazing. And this is all what she put together for her presentation. So she really talked about how it touched her heart to learn more about the Irish sampler. She talked about her trip museum there, and I'm going to show you a couple of pictures in the book of some of the samplers that she got to check out and learn more about. She talked about the different areas, the people that stitched them. and how it kind of circled back to her personal history. I ended up crying at the end. She played a song, and it just so touched my heart. So the sampler that she gave us is called Mary Wallace, 1847. It's just beautiful. Beautiful chart, a lot of history, and so that, absolutely gorgeous. So that was what we talked about with her. That was what she talked about with us. It was, again, just amazing images up on the big screens, and just being immersed in their journeys and their stories. So the next day, we had Katie Strachan. And Katie, first of all, okay, so Katie Strachan, she is a beautiful stitcher. She has a great floss tube. And by the way, I will be linking all of these artists in my show notes in the drop down. I've been following Katie since she started her floss tubes, and have just been, you know, like everybody else, gobsmacked by her caskets that she does, the 17th century stumpwork caskets. So I'm actually going to be rolling a video of her casket here if you want to look up as I'm talking. It was just, it's not only a museum piece, it's like such a beautiful, beautiful piece of stitching from the standpoint of the story it tells. So she is an English major, and you can tell, first of all, her presentation was wonderful. And I think Roberta on Sable Stitchers mentions that it felt like you were in a college course. That's what it felt like. That was the level of the speakers to begin with. But, you know, Katie was great, and just knocked it out of the park with talking about the 17th century band samplers. That was her focus. So it's the Britomart sampler and 17th century band sampler methodology. This is the flyer that she gave us, and that is the sampler that she is designing and is planning to release sometime in 2024 this year, for people to be joining in, getting kits, and I think she's going to be doing a course as well for us to be joining along and stitching this. I'm all into a band sampler now. I really, really want to do it. I'm going to read you just a little bit about the Britomart sampler in context. So samplers were a mainstay of needlework in the 17th century, but critically, they were just the starting point of a broader education for many girls. The existence of complete needlework suites like those belonging to Martha Edlin, Hannah Downs, and or Elizabeth Hall. So Elizabeth Hall is in the Witney Antiques catalog if you're familiar with that. I'll link a video below that shows that, where they're talking about that particular casket. So girls usually started, or generally started, with a polychrome band sampler, sometimes worked a second whitework sampler before moving on to a larger stumpwork project like a picture, mirror, or casket, or perhaps in some cases all three. And then sometimes they'd go into beadwork. So usually the girls would start with the band sampler, and that would actually get rolled up and placed inside the casket that they would then work later. So it was their jumping off point, and it's where they learned how to refine their stitches. She showed extant examples of some of the band samplers that she had studied and what they look like from the front, from the back. These stitches were reversible. And I talked to her later and I'm like, why would we reverse them? And she's like, we don't need to. I'm like, I don't need to. But they needed to. They wanted to. They wanted to show their ability. They wanted to flex all those muscles. And I have a feeling Katie Strachan is going to be making hers reversible. I won't be, but it'll be a miracle if I can get the front of it to be looking the way the picture looks. But she showed the examples and from the back and, from the front and from the back, and you could see the learning curve that they went through. One of the things that I really liked about Katie's talk is she talked about, because we see Katie's wonderful casket. We see her wonderful needlework and we think, oh, I can't do that. I could never learn how to do it that way. And ultimately the little girls, they were little. They were young girls that were doing this really incredibly, what we think of as advanced techniques, but they didn't know it was advanced techniques. They just jumped in. And so they didn't hesitate. They didn't stop to think whether or not they could. They just did it. And so I love that. I kind of, I embrace that way of thinking because, I'm not getting any younger. I might as well. Why not? Why can't I do some more stump work? Why couldn't I do gold work? And I could certainly do a band sampler, and I could do all of the stitches, the Montenegrin, and all of these counted, specialty stitches. I could do it. They did it. I can figure it out. So it gave me, not permission, but, it gave me that little boost of confidence, to think that I could make an interpretation of my reinterpretation of something. Oh, and that was another thing she said, because there's a big talk about, is it a reproduction? If you're not using the exact, we don't have the linen that they used back in the 1600s. We don't have the same materials, the flosses, the silks, the needles, the lighting we use, the magnification, the glasses I use. They didn't have any of that, So if I really want to stitch like the 13-year-old girls that made this stuff, I'd have to source all those things and reproduce it. That's one school of thought. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that is a school of thought. And I think what Katie was introducing to us was perhaps we need to reimagine it as a reinterpretation. Instead of a literal reproduction, just, reinterpret. You're interpreting. It's yours. It's my sampler. That's why I really embrace. I can change anything on my sampler. I can add a motif. I can, put my name on there. Now, I don't always choose to do that. Sometimes I just want to stitch it the way the little girl stitched it because that means a lot to me. But if I felt that there was something that I wanted to do, I'd do it, right? And I know Kim, Contented Needleworker Kim, she changes things all the time. She modifies, she, shrinks down and makes it fit. She stitches to a frame. I mean, it's all good, it's all good. So that was a fun discussion. That was really fun to be a part of and hear. So the final designer we had was Mary Cox. And I've watched some FlossTubes where they show Mary Cox projects. I have a whole Pinterest board devoted to Mary Cox projects. I just love them. And I love her detail. I love how she shows how to finish things. So we actually were kitted. They kitted up she did an entire project for us. So it came in this bag with these adorable crocheted flowers. They're crocheted by Peggy. And inside this bag, sorry, didn't unzip anything. We got the linen. We got the flosses, which are a Versois. I think they're 103, 100/3. And we got the pattern. So it's a tray. I didn't take it out. It's in the bag still, so I don't chip it. And this is the project. So it's a beautiful tray that she showed, the tray that she uses every day to stitch with. And so it's based on that. And it's a sampler. It's in red and blue. It's a very dark blue, so it almost reads as black. And then it has these accessories that go around it. So there is, we have a little scissor holder and a fob and a pin pillow. And she outlined and went into great detail about how to finish each one of these pieces. So I took a video of the needlework. There was a book, a needlework book. And so I took a video of how it was all set up, and so I wouldn't forget. And a lot of people were taking pictures, and then Mary Cox described in great detail and took us through step by step how she went about finishing. It was all about finishing, because the stitching part is pretty self-explanatory. So it was all about how she got the final product. So as somebody that loves to finish, I'm very excited about this project. I can't wait to get started stitching it. It does have nun stitch. I've never done the nun stitch, but I can figure it out. I trust that I can. So that was our final project. Boy, she even gave us everything. Boy, she gave us everything for that. So we also got these little red scissors, and this is the thing to spread glue with. We got little packets of walnut shell. I look at, and the ribbon, how she gave us the ribbon in there. The attention to detail is, I can't even, that is just wonderful. I love it. I love that kind of detail. Okay, so I'm going to pause here for a moment, and I am going to clear things away, and I'm going to show you the things that we received as gifts from the attic, and I'll show you some things that I purchased at the attic. I don't know if I'll show you absolutely everything, but I'll show you some cool things. I'll be right back. So the first thing I'd like to show you are some of the gifts that the attic graciously gave us. So first and foremost, this is the sampler that I actually chose, and this is from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. Gave us these really cool, they're to put your mug on. I don't think I'll be doing that. I almost want to frame that. I don't know. If you have ideas for what to do with this, other than like put my coffee on it, please tell me. I kind of want to, hang it. So, but I plan to stitch it. Maybe I'll have it, whatever. Mini me. So that was number one. We also received more. See, I've got this thing going with Sarah Milthorpe. I should probably just go ahead and get the Red House tattooed on my arm or something. I love this. I do have, and I bought the kit for it as well. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that. Got the Versois. I'm going to stitch it on probably a dirty teacup. So we got that, and this is one of those eyeglass wipes. So I almost want to make another Stitchy box so that I can put this in and do a whole Red House themed Stitchy box. So that was that. And again, that was from Hands Across the Sea. This is from Jean Lee at the attic, and I love this. This is a Scattered Sea Samplers Little Berry Thief pin keep. So we had like this strawberry theme going. Love it. I love a good strawberry. And it came with these beautiful pins. Let me tell you where these pins are from. It is They're beautiful strawberry pins that will go in the berry after we stitch it. There's also a charm and a ring for the top of the berry. And these are Minnie McBean's Needlework Fripperies. These little pins. Aren't those beautiful? Super pretty. And so a lot of people were kitting this up. I kitted a lot of things up, but that was not one thing that I think I started to kit it up, but it was late in the weekend and I think they were missing some of the flosses, so I ended up kitting something else. I'll show you that. This is beautiful. Okay, Lisa Prims on Greenway made every single person in Sampler Symposium this gorgeous strawberry waxer. And it's a necklace. I immediately started wearing it. That is her card. Look at that beautiful card. And so Lisa Prims on Greenway, I will link her below. I'm not sure if she has these in a shop or not, but I'll let you know if she does. I'll put it in my description box. Isn't it pretty? It's got a little bird. It's just so beautiful. She made, I think, 160 of these. We all got it. Everybody was pretty jazzed about that. So those were our gifts from the attic. I'm going to put those right there. And now I'm going to jump into a little bit of talk about my table mates. So I think I told you I was sitting with Robin from Little Robin Designs, Michelle, and another Robin who is from Sacramento, Roberta, who is from Sacramento, Carrie, her daughter, who is from Sacramento, and then Tricia, who is Jersey Girl Stitch Co. Now, Tricia was kind enough to make pins, counting pins, for every single person in Sampler Symposium. All the attendees got a pin from her as a gift. It was beyond nice. So it came in this beautiful pink bag, and I chose a pink set of pins, and I'll show you why in a moment. I made a little thing. So those are beautiful. How pretty, sparkly, sparkly, gorgeous. And you can find her pins online. I will add her link below. Extremely generous, and I got to sit and talk with Tricia quite a lot, and she is such a lovely person. Everybody was at the table was just lovely. We had the best table. I shouldn't say that, but we had a great table, and they were really into, like, let's stay late. So they were up, and I think we were the last ones to leave in the evenings. We're like, oh, we'll lock up. That's okay. I also received from Roberta, my table mate, this really cool, it's like a floss sock, I think is what we call them. So I can put my my silks in it and pull them out and use them, and so they don't get all fuzzy. So I really like that because I'm a floss offender. I put my floss on drops, and silks don't get special treatment for the most part. And so something like this is a good thing to have. You know, if you're traveling, you put your floss in and out of the bag. Sometimes they can get fuzzy. Roberta also made us these. Or I'm sorry, Loretta. Did I say Roberta? Okay, Roberta Lyle is on my mind. So Loretta, I think I might have been calling you Roberta, which I'm so sorry because you're one of my new best friends. Loretta made us these as well. So these came in really handy. They're just they're the covers for, what am I talking about? Kleenex. So that was great. And Carrie Lowe made us these. Love this bag. This bag, I don't think she said she's much of a quilter. I know Loretta is a quilter. She's an amazing quilter and teaches quilting. This is beautiful, Carrie. Beautiful bag, and just the way she finished it and the inside it's darling. So that will have my stitch goodies in it. Carrie also made us this, and I have wanted one of these. So it's a salt and pepper shaker, but she put sparklies in the bottom, and she punched a bigger hole in the top so I can put old needles and pins in here. I get a lot of bent pins in my room up here, and this is a really good thing to toss them into. A safe way to dispose of things like that. Let's see. We also got sampling of memories. We got these beautiful floss rings. And this has got the Attic Sampler Symposium 2024 on it, and it's got images from the Sampler Symposium inside of it. It's gorgeous. And we also received, oh, I got this from one of the wonderful stitchers that I actually met. Where did I meet you? Where did I meet you, Lake Girl? It was in a Zoom room, and it was, I want to say it was New Year's Day. I could be wrong about that. She gave me these. It was so cool to meet people. So, isn't that cute? Bunnies. These are beautiful floss. And she gave me a lot of them. Thank you for these. Love them. And I will link everybody that I talk about below, all the Instagrammers that I met. And I want to say right here too, Carolyn Lynch and Tricia Preb from Instagram were sitting at a table together, and they were kind of over by the cool kids, and Tricia came up to me and introduced herself, and I was like, oh, thank you for coming over. I was kind of like, I don't want to, I don't want to be that person that's just like warming in on things all the time, but she came over and introduced herself, which was so sweet of her. And I went over and got to take a picture with them. So I will put that picture here. And it was really, really they're rock stars to me, the Instagrammers that I got to meet. So that was pretty exciting. Oh, and Tricia gave me some honey that her husband made. So thank you for the honey. Okay, so I think that's kind of it for the gifts right now. If I find something else in my stack of things, I'll show it to you. But let me get into a little bit of what I purchased when I was there. Before I do that, I'm going to talk about my stitching setup that I had. So I actually made a stitch mat, and I haven't done that before. And I'm going to talk about the stitch mat and what I did. It was super easy. So this is what I ended up doing. It's a piece of French General piece. I used a layer cake, French General layer cake that I had, and it is in the Versailles, what's it called? Jardin de Versailles. And that is a little panel that I had purchased that is the same fabric line. And so I took the layer cake and I joined 4 pieces of it together in the center there. And then I cut the sides down, top and bottom, I think 2 inches. So I think it turned out to be 19 inches wide, and I think it's like 16 high. So it's like the perfect size, and it's just got, plain green on the back. And then this is just a magnet that I covered, and I just took a piece of, wool felt and put it there. So that was where I put my stuff. And then I made and then that's super easy to just fold up and put in your bag. And then I made it's gonna look a mess. Okay, hang on one second. I made this needle case. So you know how people are doing decorated needle cases? This is one that my friend Melissa, hi Melissa, gave to me. Busy BMD on Instagram. And so it's been sitting in my sewing room, and I finally, got it together and kind of started sparkling it up. I finally realized what I wanted to do with it. I wanted to make it kind of, 18th century, sparkle pretty. So I found the sticker at Michael's. I used that. And then the inside, I left it pretty much the way it was. I just covered a piece of fabric for the bottom. And then I just started to add things to it. And I made this little kind of paper doll out of a sticker. And that's how that turned out. I just have a little thing, a bird, piece of lace, some, little snippies. And then I brought cards that I could give out to people as well. So I did that. That was my setup. And then I have my light, my magnifier, and etc. So let me show you a couple of the things that I purchased. Oh, which is why, really quick, I got the pink ones from Tricia at Jersey Girl. So those could go with my stitching setup for the next time. So this was my big splurge at the attic. I got a lot of stuff. I have to say, I was a little shocked at, the permission I gave myself. Shopping wise, my husband's like, just, we still haven't gotten the credit card bill. So I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit like that Home Alone scene where, after a Home Alone 2 and Kevin goes to New York and orders a bunch of room service. And then at the end of the movie, the dad opens up the credit card bill and says, Kevin! I have a feeling that's going to be the scene when we get my credit card bill and it's got all my stuff on it. Catherine! So, it's all fine. These were my big expense. And I left the floss drop on it, or the scissor fob on it, because this was a gift from the wonderful Robin from Little Robin Designs. Gave us all these beautiful scissor fobs. So immediately I put the scissor fob on my new scissors, and these are the Gilletta scissors, and they are absolutely gorgeous. Aren't those something else? Let me see here. So these, I had to get them. I had to get them. They, first of all, they're just so tiny and sweet, and they're based on, or they're a reproduction of an 1830s scissor. The snip is, it warms my heart, that snip. It's just lovely. The only thing I regret is that I did not get them. Kathy from Needle in a Haystack had a pop-up shop, and she was engraving scissors, and I kind of regret that I did not get those engraved. But next time I go to Needle in a Haystack, I will take these, and hopefully she'll be able to do that for me. They were beautifully engraved. The people that had them done were, I was like, oh shoot, why did I not do that? So those were my big extravagance. That was my big purchase, but I don't have any really special, I don't have kahanas, and I loved everything about these. They came with this beautiful leather sheath. I'm not sure if you can still get them from the attic. You could contact them and see if they still have them. That was the big thing. I think that was the big thing. And then I look at all the fabric I got. So I'm going to pause here for a second. I'm going to pull my fabric out and put it on a whiteboard for you so that you can see it together. I'll be right back. Okay. So the first and foremost, I have to say, yes, I did buy a piece of 56 count linen. The linen selection was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen in a needlework shop. Hands down, the amount of linen that they brought in to share with us was just incredible. things that I've always longed to see, things I never thought existed. I had no idea how absolutely gorgeous it was until you see it in person sometimes. So it was all I could do to not just sweep it all into a bag and take all of it home with me. It was so incredible. So that was really where probably a lot of the damage was done, was on the linen. Now I only have 3 pieces here to really share, 4 pieces to share with you. So I have, first of all, 56 count. So I just got a piece of cream, 56 count, and I thought, you know, I might take it. I might coffee dye it a little bit. We'll see. But I wanted to do something on 56 count. Do I know what? No, I don't. But I've got lots of choices now. And I'm going to show you piece by piece the linen I got, and then I'll show them together because I really like doing that. I feel that people can really get an idea for how things look when they see it compared to other pieces. So I'm going to turn this over, I think. So I have a white background for you. So the first piece is a piece of Fox and Rabbit 36 count dirt track. So I think, is that the only 36 I got? I think so. Yeah. It's gorgeous. So I'm going to hold it up here. I can't even. It even looks better on the video. It's so beautiful. What a magician he is, that Bren. Look at that. And it's a big piece. I got the fat half because I wanted it. I just wanted it. It's just gorgeous. So that right there had to come home with me. And then these I've had many times before, but just I can't resist it. This is Dirty Teacup by Needle and Flax, probably my all-time favorite. I don't know, I've got lots of favorites now. And this is just a beautiful piece. Love it, love it, love it. And then I got another piece of Needle and Flax, and it's thorn-filled. Now thorn-filled, again, I thought this was my favorite, and then I pick up thorn-filled. I'm like, nope, this is my favorite. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I actually don't know. Maybe I'll use this for the Hands Across the Sea project. That may be what I use for the project from Sampler Symposium, is that. Oh, so pretty. Okay, so I'll put those 3 together on my board and just show them to you. So we've got thorn-filled at the top, Dirty Teacup at the bottom, and Dirty Teacup is in the middle, and Dirt Track is at the bottom. So here we go, thorn-filled, Dirty Teacup, and Dirt Track. So that's it close up. So you can see Dirty Teacup has a warmth, a little bit warmer than the thorn-filled. It's cooler to me. I'll back up a little bit. And this is kind of warm and cool. Just cool. It almost looks like it's got some gray and almost looks lavendery, but yeah. I have a project I'm going to show you that I kitted up that I'm going to probably use that dirt track for, which is why I bought the dirt track. So let's see here. These, now it's going to be a chart parade of the charts that I got. So I'm going to show them to you pretty quick. You've probably seen a lot of these before. This was something I think I've wanted forever, Fanny Bramley. And you can see me in the red houses and the symmetry of the stuff around it. That's right up my alley. That ticks all the boxes, rings all the bells, and just warms my little sampler heart. I love it. And the red house, there's a thing going about that in my life. Let's see, we've got From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. These were right by the cash register there. And so I was kind of around the perimeter of the attic. I'm going to kind of show pictures here for a second. So there's lots of, you know, samplers to look at all over the place, and things that you think you saw but you hadn't seen. And so anyway, I'm up at the cash register, and I think I had checked out already, and then I turned around, and then all of the From the Heart needle art hit me in the face, and so I had to take this one home, which I just loved. There were so many good ones from her that I want to get. Great. I've never done one of her charts, so I'm very excited about that. I had to pick this up and a grater because Carol Saltbox Stitcher, that's all I'm going to say. Had to get it. This has been on my wish list for years. And I had to get this one too, Bristol Berries 3. Sampler Motifs, I love this one. By Erica Michaels. This was, I believe, from last year, an exclusive, and I think I can, you can only get it from the attic. And I saw this finished. One of the ladies there had it finished teeny tiny. Do they have any teeny tinies? No, she did it over 1 on 40 count, and it is just darling. She actually finished it as a pin cushion, and the surround part of that pin cushion is a child's napkin ring, and so it had like all of this vintage, like a cartoony kind of thing, vintage though, around it. It was beautiful, and she actually put little paillettes, sparkly flat sequins on it. Oh, killed me. So I got that. I got a couple of the flosses. They were out of some of the flosses, so I have to continue kitting this before I can start it. But ooh, loved it. Now this was a complete surprise to me. I had no idea that I wanted this until I saw this, the sampler there, and I love it. So I'm gonna put my glasses on so I can read the verse to you. It's the 7 Sheep Sampler by the Scarlet House. And I ran into Karen Lynch was in the attic when I was in there, and we were talking. I think, Karen, I believe you stitched this. And so she had used the silks. So I started to kit it up in the silks because I had to kit it immediately. And she said, yeah, she used the silk. She loved it. And so I started to kit it in the silks, and I couldn't find some of them. So I think I was kind of late to the party when it came to that part of the store at that day. So rather than kit it in silks, I ended up kitting it in the overdyed cottons, which are beautiful. And I actually love the variegation. And this pink just made my heart sing. I'm like, oh, that pink's in there. Oh yeah, I have to get, yeah. Well, the thing I love about this so much is that it's an Adam and Eve feel to me, because you have the man and the woman down here, but they're clothed and they're underneath an oak tree. It has all these acorns in it, which is just totally right up my alley. Now I'm going to try and read the verse to you off the front. So let me see here if I can read it. It says, "Convince the world that you are just and true. Be just in all you say and all you do. Whatever be your birth, you're sure to be a man of the first magnitude to me." I'm going to do it for my husband. So sorry. That's why we love samplers. I don't know why. That gets me. That gets me. And the dirt track is what I chose for that. That's why I chose the dirt track, because it kind of looked like that to me, and then it just really worked with all the colors. So that will be a start sooner rather than later. We'll start it soon. I just can't not. Okay, so moving on. I got the Chessie Smith, a Dutch sampler, which is beautiful. I'm intrigued by how like small it feels. And then this, couldn't resist this, my sister's sampler. And this was one thing that I really, really had wanted to get before I even left to go on the trip. I knew that I wanted one of these. So this is a newish designer to me, and I love it. This is Ann Richardson, age 9 years old. It only has 1, 2, 3. I think she does hand-dyed fibers. The Vicki Clayton silks are what are called for, but she also has a DMC equivalent here. So you could do either one, but there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 7 colors in that. Beautiful. And this I didn't realize I was going to get, but I had to get it. This is Leela Studio Susanna Lynch 1862. And I just love everything about that. Leaning into a little bit more of less of the what I normally go for, which is the symmetry. What happens on one side happens on the other. This one has almost a little bit more of starting to introduce that Berlin wool work motif kind of happening in the middle there. I love the vases. I love just the way, everything about it. It's beautiful. And then on the back, you can see there's the original. So that would be pretty on a dirty teacup. Oh yeah. And then last but not least, I have to say, I got to meet the awesome Grace, the Paisley stitcher. She's a hoot. And you know, she also is just the most amazing stitcher. She shared some of her stitching. We had a show and tell night, and gorgeous pieces that she has. So she showed me this, and I ended up grabbing it. It's by the Assembler, and this is called MRT 1743. And it is a band sampler of German origin. So I'm going to link Grace's video below. If you haven't seen it, please do yourself a favor. She was one of the people that Jean Lee actually asked her to stand up and introduced her, and the amount of work and research that went into her latest video where she talks about German band samplers is well worth watching. She put a lot of time and effort into researching it, and shows so many great examples of these. But so now I'm all into it. I want to do all the band samplers, but this one I really loved. I love that it's got a bear, and it also has Adam and Eve, and it has a lion. It has, you know, and that's the thing Grace talks about, is how a lot of these motifs show up in a lot of this, you know, they're pulled almost all identically from the same motif books, and they end up in different regions of Germany, Saxon samplers. Okay, that is my haul. It is complete. And that, I believe, my friends, is going to be all I'm going to be sharing today. I don't have any stitching to share. I did take Harriet Goddard by Hands Across the Sea, and that's what I worked on. I got an entire deer stitched at the event, at the Sampler Symposium. And on the airplane, I did probably more stitching on the airplane on the way home than I did on the entire weekend. I stitched all the way home, and I got home, and I'm like, I'll do that motif, and then I'm going to finish up this other little motif. I got them all put in, and then I looked at them, and they were all in the wrong place, so I had to rip them all out. So there was some frogging being done. I have been stitching since I got back. So I've been back for about a week now, and I have been doing a lot of stitching. That's the thing. It made me want to come home and dive in and stitch a lot. So I've been working on sometimes 3 projects a day. I had a really fun stitch day yesterday with my friend Patty, who lives like 5 minutes away from me. It's great. She came over, it was pouring rain, and we are both working on the Smith sampler. So I pulled out my Smith sampler and got a good start on that. So things like that I'm going to show on my next FlossTube. You will not be seeing any haul, knock on wood, for quite a while. So if you're, tired of seeing me show things that I'm planning to stitch in the future, don't worry, you're not going to see a lot of charts being purchased. Catherine! Anytime soon. Okay, so again, a big hug, a big mwah to the Attic and Jean Lee and her staff. To everybody that said hello to me, thank you for coming up and saying hi. For all of the FlossTubers that I went up and clawed at, thank you for saying hello to me and being as kind as you were. And I hope this is only the beginning for me. I hope I get to be attending another retreat. I don't know this year, but definitely it's like on the menu. I'm already talking to my retreat stitching friends that were sitting at the table with me. Those ladies we have a message group now. They are like, hey, this is what I'm doing today. What are you doing today? And so we have like this message group going. It's awesome. And we're hoping to start Zooming, and we're hoping to, keep our connections and see each other again real soon. Enjoy your stitching, and I hope all of your stitching brings you many peaceful hours. Bye, everybody.